Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope everyone is having a good day. Looking forward to what we got going on today. Looking forward, looking forward. Give me a second. We about to get started. Y'all make sure to hit the like button if you haven't hit the like button already. Wabbit Crime Network is in full effect. Thank you everybody for coming out. Thank you for showing up. We got an interesting stream. Y'all know how we do. Y'all know how we do. If you have a community wall, please share this live. Tell your friends about the Wabbit Crime Network. We'll be starting very soon. I'm just sending out my notifications right now. Do check out the Wabbit Discord, the Wabbit Crime Network Discord. We got the Wabbit merch coming soon. Wabbit Crime Network merch coming soon. All right, all right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are we doing today? How are we doing today? Welcome to the Wabbit Crime Network. Welcome to the Wabbit Crime Network, where we discuss crime on the network. All kinds of crime. But for the most part, we're starting off this page with parole hearings. That's the first set of videos we've been doing on this page. And we're just gonna elevate. We are just gonna elevate. And today, once again, we got some parole board hearings where inmates are up for parole and they're going to see the judges. And the judges will interview the inmates and decide whether or not they will be granted parole. So I want to shout out to my members. Let me get my members list so I could say hello to all my members. And then we can get this show started. If you haven't got a membership from the WabbitTube, do check out the WabbitTube memberships. See who we got here. So this is a shout out to all my members: J Dub, Katana, Dana Maria, D Grant, Alif CJ, Colby Knows, Distracting One, Gems Eye View, Long Live EA, Tesh Aziz, Highly Favored, Uncle L, Go Getter, Rally Time TV, Sunrise 71, Steve A, The Real Geechee 67 RCL, Trey Spectives, Yvonne May, Courtney Peach. Thank you to all my new members. Shout out to the members. Without any further ado, we're gonna get this show on the road. I do believe that we need to be on subscribers mode for any duration. Anyone can type in the chat. Feel free to type in the chat. If you're someone who's watching for the first time, feel free to type in the chat. You just got to be a subscriber. That's all. No big deal. I'm going to pin the anonymous donation link. That's basically for anyone who wants their name in the ticker. If you send a super chat, it will not be read out, and your name will not show up in the ticker on the top right of the screen. But if you send a donation through the donation link, then your your name will scroll at the top of the screen during the stream. So I guess that's basically vanity shit. So if you're into a little vanity, you can always do that. As always, if you would like to support this channel, we got Wabbit Crime Network at PayPal. We got $ Wabbit Crime Network on Cash App. And we also have memberships and super chats. So feel free at any time to support the channel in any way you see fit. Yeah. We're here today. We are going back to court. Back to court. We got, I believe we got 5 cases here. Some might be short, some might be long. You never know. Depends. But it's interesting nonetheless. Interesting nonetheless. So, for the people who haven't been here before, I'll explain how this goes. So we're going to watch parole hearings. These are parole board hearings where a panel of judges interviews an inmate who's up for parole, and they then vote and decide whether or not the inmate will be granted parole. So they have the power to confirm, to grant or deny the parole. And we're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch these cases play out. But before the judges get to vote, we the audience will get our opportunity to vote. And we will have 5 minutes where everyone gets their opportunity to vote. And then after that 5 minutes up, we will end the poll. We will read the results from the audience, and then we will play the actual judges' results, their decision, to see, how accurate we were. So once again, I thank everybody for showing up, everybody who's here. If you have a community wall, please share this live. Hit the like button if you haven't already. We're doing Wabbit Crime content. We're doing Wabbit Crime content. Shout out to the chat. Hold up. Gotta turn this thing off. All right. Let me get this ready. All right. Thugs Bunny. So this is what we're doing. The link is in the description for the parole board. Any inmate, you can search the inmate's name, you can search their docket number, you can get all up-to-date information or even past information about any of the people that you see here today. Check the link in the description to go to the parole board to enter any of this information so that you can follow any of these people. Maybe if they got denied, you might want to find out when's the next parole date. You know, all that information can be found if you click the link in the description for the parole board's website. All right. Good morning, everyone. All right. So here we are. Our first case of the day. This is how it's going to go. I'm going to go over it one more time. I will be in the chat with everyone while this case is going on. I will pause the video right before the judges vote. Then I will drop the poll in the chat for everybody to vote on whether or not they think the person will get paroled or not. And then we will continue. So this is the first case. You're going to get the name, docket number. You're going to find out details in the case. You're going to find out why they were arrested, how long they've been arrested, how long they're supposed to serve, and you get all that information right in the first couple minutes of the introduction. So anybody who wants to look into any of these cases further, all the information you need is in the video, and the resources to look into the information any further is in the description. And let's go.
You are Mr. Whitehead?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Mr. Whitehead, you're on mute. Somebody needs to unmute your microphone.
Good morning. My name is Alan Whitehead.
Still can't hear you.
Yeah, speak up real loud.
Good morning. My name is Alan Whitehead.
Thank you, Mr. Whitehead. Would the staff there please introduce themselves?
Corporal Jonathan Lott.
Thank you very much. Mr. Whitehead, would you please give me your full name and DOC number?
Alan Christian Whitehead, 724-514.
Mr. Whitehead, this is a parole revocation hearing today. I want to explain our process to you. First, I'm going to cover with you your parole revocation questionnaire. Then I'm going to advise you of what the allegations are that you have violated your probation. I'm going to ask you to plead either guilty or not guilty to those. Then we'll have a hearing. You'll have an opportunity to vote. You'll have an opportunity to say whatever you'd like to say before the panel votes. Do you understand our procedure?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Whitehead, would you take a look at that questionnaire? Do you recognize that, sir?
Yes, sir.
And is that your signature at the bottom of the page?
Yes, sir.
And all of those answers, were they all answered correctly on October the 5th of 2023?
Yes, sir.
Are they all accurate today?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready to proceed with our hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to read the allegations. The first allegation is violation of rule number 2. You failed to report to your parole officer as directed. An appointment later was mailed for an office visit on September the 1st of 2023 at 8 a.m. in which you failed to report. How do you plead to that?
I plead guilty, but like.
All right. Let me explain something, Mr. Whitehead. The pleas are guilty with a statement, not guilty, or not guilty with a statement. So you wish to plead guilty and make a statement at some point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The next allegation is number 3. You failed to provide your parole agent with any and all updated contact information. Therefore, your whereabouts were unknown until your arrest in Mississippi. You were never given written permission to leave the state under any circumstances. How do you plead to that?
Guilty.
You engaged in criminal activity as evidenced by your arrest on or about September the 5th of 2023 by the Biloxi Police Department for domestic abuse battery. How do you plead to that?
Not guilty.
Okay. It's my understanding at your hearing, you pled guilty to the fact that you were in fact arrested, but you plead not guilty to the fact that you were guilty of domestic abuse battery. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
You have been unemployed and employable, but failed to work to seek employment for over 180 days. How do you plead to that?
Guilty.
Your parole officer asked for an updated address and phone number. Then you failed to promptly answer questions by hanging up and ending the call. How do you plead to that?
Not guilty.
Not guilty. You failed to pay your monthly supervision fees and are currently in arrears of $908. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty.
Why don't you go ahead and give me your statement about any of the allegations you wish? Let's first of all talk about your failing to report. You said you plead guilty with a statement. What's your statement?
All right. So when I first started reporting, I was going to the office every month, and the parole officer was like, "You don't have to come up here. We could set a appointment or do a Zoom." So from that day forward, I talked to the PO every single month except for September. You know, it was never not no contact. Like as far as me coming to the building, I stopped coming to the parole because they switched my parole officer 3 times.
How'd you end up in Mississippi?
I ended up in Mississippi, going back and forth, dealing with my children, like CPS. I got documentation of it. Like DHS was coming trying to take my son, my mama old.
Did you notify your parole officer that you were going to Mississippi?
No, ma'am, no, sir, because like at the same time, I'm not making no excuses, nothing. I'm taking full responsibility. Like I didn't have an address anymore because me and my brother, we got kicked out the house from his old lady with gambling. She ain't like how we were gambling and doing things like that. So I didn't have an address. So I was really trying to weed my way out because I know one thing, if you don't have an address, you'll come back.
Why didn't you contact your parole officer and let them know what you were doing?
Really scared, not knowing how anything works, sir, to be honest.
All right, well, tell me about your arrest on September the 5th of 2023. What happened then?
Okay, I got pulled over or whatever, and I was dealing with a female or whatever. She was staying with us over here in Slidell. And then when everything got rocky with us, she even told me, like, if you're not gonna be with me, I'm gonna make sure you die or go to jail. You know, so it was all type of things. I had let them know that she was threatening me and all type of things like that, you know. So that's really all the way not true at all. That's just like a woman just being spiteful. That's not.
So this is your ex-girlfriend who had a tear on her collar and bruises on the left side of her face. She was running towards a witness, screaming for help. The victim stated her ex-boyfriend, Alan Whitehead, kicked in her back door. She ran and he caught her by the collar and dragged her into the vehicle. The defendant began to drive away and she was able to get out of the vehicle and ran where she called for help. Do you deny all of that?
Not true at all. Nobody's saying that. She's saying that, man, sir. That's not true at all. That's not true at all.
You were in Mississippi when you were not supposed to be there. You pled guilty to simple battery. Why?
No, I didn't. I never been to court on that. I never pled guilty to that.
Okay.
And then when I got pulled over, that was my first time having knowledge of it. I never had a warrant for it or nothing. That was my first time having knowledge of it, September the 5th. I don't know when she pressed the charges or whatever, but that was my first time having knowledge of it. I never been on.
Had you been in contact with your parole officer, you would have known all about these things, and you probably might not be sitting there today if what you're saying is true.
Yes, sir.
So what do you have to say about that?
Like I would talk to my parole officer every single month except for September. That's the only time I haven't talked to my PO officer. I talk to her every single month.
Were you working?
Sir?
Were you working?
I was doing labor ready, and then I was working with DR London.
Okay. You were saying you talk to your PO every month, so you didn't tell her your serious life situation when you talked to her. You didn't say, we got put out of our house, I'm looking for a place to stay. You didn't talk to her about that. You just didn't talk. So what did y'all talk about? You talked to her every single month.
She told me, she was telling me like the last time I talked to her, I did tell her that I was staying with another friend or whatever, and she was like, "What's the
But again, going back, the purpose of contacting your PO every month is keep your PO abreast as to your life situations. The day you got put out, that's when you should have told the PO, I got put out. I don't know where I'm living right now, but my phone is still working. I'll stay in contact with you while I figure it out. Your PO was informed.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
PO was informed that my children in Mississippi going to CPS, I'm worried, what can I do?
Yes,
And you and your PO can figure out what to do.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what your PO is for, to discuss your life situations. That's the point of maintaining contact with your PO.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
hide the information that the PO needs in order to help you. Stay out of jail.
Yes, ma'am. And then
Please see that. If you don't see nothing else, please see that.
you right, ma'am. And at the end of the day,
There's no address the PO can write down. He doesn't have an address right now. That's it. But you stay in contact.
yes, ma'am.
That's all you can do. Well, I mean, and then there are some resources to help you get an appointment. I don't know if you qualify for that program. We didn't get a chance to assess you for that program because you didn't ask.
Yes,
We don't
ma'am.
know if you qualify for a transfer to Mississippi. We don't know because you didn't ask.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what you need to know.
And yes, ma'am.
And that's
then,
all. I just wonder what y'all talked about. You talk to them every month. That's all I had, Chairman. Thank you.
And then it's like I wasn't doing anything of this, like to be mischievous or whatever. It just,
But you never. But you didn't inform your officer. There were no new arrest. But there was a new arrest. There was a new arrest. So what's the court date on that domestic battery charge? Do you know?
It's the 26th.
26th of October.
Yes, ma'am.
Where? What court is that?
In Mississippi.
So she went, although y'all had broke up, what's she doing in Mississippi with y'all? She had put y'all out.
Ma'am?
Was she the girl y'all was living with that put y'all out because of the gambling?
We were staying with my brother girlfriend.
Oh, so your girlfriend went with you to Mississippi?
No, she was staying in Mississippi, but the only reason she was coming over there staying with us here and there was because of me. She also had a house in Mississippi the whole time.
Oh, okay. So you could have stayed with her.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
You could have got a transfer, or you could have stayed with your mother in Mississippi. Your mother got a house, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
I was just trying to get some clarity. That's all I had, Chairman.
Thank you. Any questions? Anything you'd like to say, Mr. Whitehead, before we vote?
I would like to understand. I'll let you know. I said everything to the full extent or whatever, and nothing I was doing. Like I wasn't trying to be mischievous. Really, just scared because I got all this time over my head. It's like I know if I really have a chance, I promise I can show y'all I can be a law-abiding citizen or whatever, you know. I promise I can. And I really do need a chance. Like I really need to be in my son's life. I really do. Like if I was to go to jail right now, I have to do another 5 years. He'll be a young man, you know, and it's really taking a lot of toll on me. That's what I want to do, to be there for my son. Like I know I messed up to a point where it's ridiculous. I belittle myself out there and everything, but like if I was to have a chance, I got a support system and people that's standing behind me. You know, I'll be successful to be the parolee I need to be. You know.
Thank you. Okay, we're ready to vote?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And they are ready to vote. I hope you guys got y'all pens and papers. I hope y'all been taking notes because it's time. The time is here. It's time to vote, y'all. Do we think that this inmate will be granted parole in this case? We're going to start the timer at 5 minutes and let's go. Get y'all votes in. Get y'all votes in. This one is interesting. It's not as bad as it could have been. It could be worse. This one definitely could be worse. He messed up a couple times. He didn't take full responsibility and did everything he could have done to make sure that he doesn't get violated. So there was some neglect there. There was some neglect on his part. However, I don't see him as as extremely malicious. He doesn't seem like a terrible guy. However, he is in this situation. And they did let him out under supervision, and he wasn't completely responsible. He wasn't 100% responsible. And they look at those things. Because we got to put you in the world where we done had you locked up, and we got to put you back in the world. And we constantly have to look at you and constantly have to monitor you and supervise you. We could have just did that in jail. If we seriously got to monitor you like this, then, and if you are being monitored, that should motivate you. That should definitely motivate you to want to do the right thing. You're being monitored. You're being watched. Y'all get y'all votes in. Get your votes in. Let everybody do their thing. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Do remember to join the Wabbit Crime Network Discord. We got merch coming soon. I'm thinking I should do the Wabbit Crime Network store. I have the We the Wabbit store, but I'm thinking Wabbit Crime Network need its own store. I was gonna do a section of the We the Wabbits online store to have Wabbit Crime Network on it, but I'm kind of shifting towards its own store. Maybe I can brainstorm with the people and get some feedback and see which might be the best idea, which way to go. It'll be interesting. We got 1 minute and 30 seconds left to vote. We have 1 minute and 30 seconds left to vote. So if you haven't voted already, get your votes in. Do you think the judges will grant parole in this case? This doesn't seem to be violent. This is just someone who was irresponsible in handling his affairs when it came to contacting his parole officer, notifying them whenever, as he should. He didn't do those things in a responsible fashion. So there is consequences to that, of course. But is it enough to get him denied? So they slapping a monitor on him? Hey, I mean, if they give a monitor and tell you don't got to go back in the jail, shit, why not? All right, we got 15 seconds left to vote. Get your votes in. 5 seconds. And the poll is over. So we got 22 votes. Y'all. Shout out to the chat. We got 22 votes. 90% says no, he will not be granted parole in this case. And 9% said yes. So, overwhelmingly, the chat believes this man will not be granted parole. Let's see how it goes.
Mr. Whitehead, I've read the police report. There was an independent witness that saw what happened, saw her running, saw you chasing her. You pled guilty to all of these charges at your preliminary examination, but today you wanted to plead guilty, not guilty to several of them. I find that you have violated all of the conditions as outlined here, and it's my vote to revoke you. Mr. Roche?
Mr. Whitehead, you left the state of Louisiana without an approved ICOT or a travel permit. Therefore, I find you guilty of violating conditions number 3, 6, and 10 of your supervision contract. Therefore, I'm revoking your supervision.
And Mr. Whitehead, I've already explained to you what you need to do going forward, but my vote is the same, to revoke for the reasons already been stated on the record.
Good luck to you, Mr. Whitehead. Your parole has been revoked.
May I ask a question?
You may. I don't know if I can answer it.
By my parole being revoked, that's giving me all my time back.
I don't know the answer to that.
No.
Probably not. I'm hearing the answer no from some of our staff.
But we don't calculate time. We don't
calculate time. That's
so
between you and the Department of Corrections.
and they'll get with you.
All right.
Well, there you have it. Another one in the books. Another one down. Oh man, so seems like a lot of y'all was right. The majority of y'all was right. And it's funny how a lot of times these guys would say one thing or plead out to one thing in court and then go in front of the parole board and say something completely different. Now, I do want to make this clear. If you take a plea deal in any crime, you are guilty. I don't care if you did it or not. You are pleading to committing the crime. You are accepting and putting it on record that you take full responsibility for the crime. So you cannot later on then say, I took a plea deal, but I'm innocent. Those don't go together. Those don't go together. So please understand, anytime you take a plea deal, you are pleading guilty for whatever they said you did. You are pleading guilty. You are admitting your guilt, and you are accepting a deal based on your admittance of guilt. So please, a lot of people do this, and I see this in this court cases a lot. They would plead guilty to a lesser charge and then still say that they're innocent of the crime. You cannot have both. When you come in front of the parole board, they want you to show that you accept responsibility and accountability. So if you pled guilty, you need to say that you're guilty, and you need to explain how guilty you are if you took that plea. You don't say, I only took the plea because. That doesn't work, because they ask you questions like, has anyone forced you to do this? Do you fully understand and comply and comprehend what these charges is and what this deal is? And you have to acknowledge all of that shit. You have to acknowledge all of that, because the judge won't sign off on it if you don't. So when you acknowledge all of that nobody coerced you, you're not being forced, you understand with clear mind and clear conscience that you are pleading guilty to a crime, you got to sign to all that and say yes to the judge to all of that. So you don't later on go and say, I was not guilty, I just pled because. You don't do it. So a word of advice for people, don't do it. Please don't. Don't do it. Please don't. All right, we got another case. We have another case. I hope y'all ready for it. I hope you guys are ready for it. We have another case on the docket. On the docket. All right. And y'all already know how this goes. Y'all already know how this goes. We are going to watch a case of an inmate who is looking to be granted parole. He's going in front of a panel of judges. The judges will interview him. The judges will interview the inmate, and then they will vote and decide whether or not they will grant the inmate parole. So in this case, you're going to hear the name of the inmate, the docket number. You're going to get all the information about the case, how much time he's doing, how much time they got left, how much time they did. You're going to get all that information. And there's a link in the description to the parole board where you can check out all the information in detail and keep up with any of these cases or get more information on anything going on in the parole board. Check the link in the description. So without any further ado, I'm going to be back in the chat. Before the judge votes, I will stop the video and I will put a poll in the chat where the audience gets to vote on what they think the judge's decision will be. And that poll will be up for 5 minutes. After the 5 minutes is done, I'm going to read the votes, and then we will play the judge's decision and see if the chat was accurate in their assumption of what the verdict would be. Hold on. I appreciate the participation. Appreciate the new members. So shout out to Thaddeus for joining the Wabbitry. Shout out to the new members. Will the judges have that ready, willing, and able? Now I will be in the chat congregating with the rest of the folks until it's time. And so I'm gonna play this and I'll be back. I'll be in the chat with you guys, watching it and enjoying the show, just like you.
My name is Tony Maribel. I'm acting as chair. Ms. Pearl Wise and Mr. Alvin Roche are the two other panel members. Our remote location this morning is at Rapides Parish Detention Center. Mr. Branch, is there anyone there from the staff at Rapides Parish there with you?
Yes, sir.
Would you please ask them to introduce themselves?
Sergeant Marsh.
Thank you, Sergeant Marsh. Our next case is going to be Mr. Clinton Branch. Mr. Branch, let me explain our procedure to you. This is a parole revocation proceeding. First off, I'm going to go over your parole revocation questionnaire with you. Then I'm going to read the allegations against you as to how you are alleged to have violated your parole. Then I'm going to ask you to plead either not guilty with a statement, guilty, or guilty with a statement. Then we'll have a hearing, and then you'll have an opportunity to say whatever you'd like to say to the panel before we vote. Do you understand our process?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Branch, do you have before you your parole revocation questionnaire?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's up on the screen as well. Is that your signature at the bottom?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are those answers all accurate and correct still today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, are you ready to proceed with this hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Branch, I'm going to read the allegations against you, and I'm going to ask you to plead. Number 2, you have failed to report to your supervising agent as instructed. How do you plead to that charge?
Not guilty, but with an explanation.
Guilty with a statement, okay. The next violation is number 3, you failed to provide probation and parole with a valid address. Several attempts to locate you at your listed address via phone proved to be unsuccessful. How do you plead to that?
Not guilty.
All right. Next one is number 4. You committed the offense domestic abuse battery for which you were arrested and charged on or about February the 24th of 2023. You also previously committed the offense of domestic abuse battery as evidenced by your arrest on or about October the 2nd of 2022. Both charges were dropped on July 27th of 2023. That's a several part question, so I'm going to ask you, you were in fact arrested on February 24th and October the 2nd, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And the charges were dropped against you as of July 27th of 2023.
Yes, sir.
How do you plead to the charges that you committed domestic abuse battery?
Not guilty.
All right. Next violation is you have failed to provide proof of employment and or employment search to your supervising agent. How do you plead to that charge?
Not guilty with a statement.
All right. You failed to provide a valid address, therefore prohibiting probation and parole from making contact. How do you plead to those charges?
Not guilty with a statement.
All right. You are currently $1,569 in arrears, having last made a payment on or about June 18th of 2021. How do you plead to that allegation?
Guilty.
Number 13, special conditions. You must complete and obtain your GED. You have failed to provide proof of obtaining your GED as ordered by the parole board. How do you plead to that allegation?
Not guilty with a statement.
All right. And finally, special condition number 2, NAAA meetings 2 times per week and submit to random drug screens. You have failed to provide proof of attending AA meetings as ordered by the parole board. How do you plead to those charges?
Guilty with a statement.
All right. Mr. Branch, your case has been assigned to Mr. Alvin Roche. He will be beginning the interview with you. Please answer any questions he might have.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Branch.
Good morning.
Good morning. I've read the file 2 or 3 times, so I'm very interested in hearing your explanation why you don't follow rules, regulations, and the orders of the parole board. So we're going to take it one by one. What's your explanation? Are you pled guilty to condition number 2 and with a statement? So why didn't you report to your supervisor?
I was reporting, I was always at work and they would come to the job and visit me. And she came to the house, but I was at work. I
So
talked to him.
I read your statement. You have worked 24 hours a day?
Sir,
You were never home. What, do you work 24 hours a day?
no, sir, I worked from 5 to 4 o'clock. 5 in the morning to 4 in the evening.
Okay. So why weren't you at home when she visited after 4 o'clock?
She never visited me after 4 o'clock.
Okay. Condition number 3, you pled not guilty. And did you live at the address? And be careful how you answer this. Did you live at the address that was on your parole certificate?
Yes, sir.
But you were never there when she visited.
No, I was there the first couple of times when I first got out. But when I found a job, they always came to the job and visited. I just got the parole officer that I have like last year.
Okay. Now, condition number 4, you were arrested for domestic abuse battery multiple occasions, not only these 2 occasions, but you were arrested at least 2 or 3 other times, and all the charges were dropped. Is that correct?
You said I had multiple cases? No, sir, that ain't me.
Sir, you were arrested on February 24th, 2023. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You were arrested on October 2nd, 2022, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
That's multiple times.
Oh, I thought you were saying before then.
Well, there's a couple of arrests before then, but we'll talk about that later, okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, the burden of proof on domestic abuse is much greater for the DA than it is for the parole board.
Yes, sir.
Your parole certificate says that you should not have any criminal activity during your supervision. And multiple arrests for domestic abuse shows that there is some criminal activity going on, but there was not enough evidence for the district attorney to bring charges. So my burden is much less than it. And I've read the police reports, and there was criminal activity. And I'll go over that a little bit later. So I want to let you know that my burden is much less than the burden of proof of a DA, because all I have to prove is that there was some criminal activity during your parole supervision. Condition number 6, you failed to supply proof of employment. And you said you pleaded not guilty, and you said you had a statement.
Yes, sir. I always filled out the monthly report for showing that I had a job, my wages and everything. I don't know why they said that. I had a job the whole 3 years I was home.
So you had a job.
Yes,
and you
sir.
were paid on a regular basis because you had a job. Why were you 2.5 years behind on your supervision fees? You have not paid supervision fees since June 18th, 2021, 2.5 years ago. So tell me why.
I got over my head in expenses on bills, and I couldn't make payments.
Mr. Branch, are you on supervision?
Yes, sir.
Did a parole board have grace and grant you the privilege of parole supervision?
Yes, sir.
Yes, no. Yes or no?
Sir, what was the question?
Did the parole board have grace and mercy and granted you parole supervision?
Yes, sir.
Your first and only job on supervision is to maintain rules and regulations, pay your fees so you can stay free.
Yes, sir.
And you failed to do that for 2.5 years. Condition number 13.1. The parole board, in its wisdom, put a condition on you upon release that you must enroll in a GED program. Why didn't you?
When I first came home, the pandemic was bad, and my parole officer stated that I would have to wait till the coronavirus died down a little bit, but it never did.
Mr. Branch, that reason that not even hold water. The pandemic has been over for at least 1.5 to 2 years. It takes 30 minutes to enroll in a GED class and attend classes. Why didn't you do it?
I mean, I asked about it, but I was working. I ain't have time really.
Again, it was a condition placed on you by the parole board.
Yes, sir.
condition that you maintain your freedom and stay on supervision, that you attend GED classes. And you just flatly refuse to enroll in a program. Condition 2, you must attend at least 2 AA meetings a week. Why didn't you?
Like I say, the pandemic was going on at the time.
Sir, don't even give me that reason, because AA was on Zoom the whole time throughout the pandemic. There is no reason why you couldn't log on to any NA meeting and fulfill your requirement placed on you by the parole board. What I see, Mr. Branch, is an individual who has blatantly refused to follow any order placed on you or condition placed on you by the parole board when it released you on supervision. So tell me why you would endanger your freedom by not following the orders of this board.
It ain't that I wouldn't want to follow orders. I mean, I was focused on working. I had other things going on. It just slipped my mind. I'm not gonna make no excuses about it, because that's what I supposed to do. And I take full responsibility for it. Like, I messed up.
Thank you, Mr. Branch. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Branch, is there, I have one question. Okay.
There was some mention about you were bad on drugs. Did you go back to using?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So where were you working?
AFCO
And where?
Industries.
They never did a drug test there?
No, ma'am. Yes,
Oh.
ma'am. They drug test.
You
It was just recently, before like a month or two before I came to jail.
Did you start back using?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened that made you start back using?
I lost my mom. I lost my ex-wife. I was going through a tragedy at the time, and I know it ain't no excuse for me to go back to that.
Are you not making excuses? I don't hear that you're making an excuse. I just hear that you didn't get first of all, I'm sorry for your loss. I am so sorry for your loss. We go to most funerals right now, and this season, then we get to go to weddings. I understand that. It's just unfortunate that that's the only place you look for help, not with a pastor, not with a friend, not with your PO, get you in counseling, just decide to go back to drugs. That's all I hate to hear. That doesn't honor their memory too well. You have to think about that.
Yes, ma'am.
Honor their memory. And I'm so sorry for your loss. That's all I had.
Thank you. Mr. Branch, is there anything you'd like to say before the board votes?
And I've been working on myself. I've been seeking God since I've been here, been incarcerated. And I just ask that y'all have leniency on me and see that I can do what I was supposed to do. I just went down the wrong path again.
Thank you, Mr. Branch. Panel ready to vote?
Yes.
All right. It's that time again, ladies and gentlemen. Is the panel ready to vote? Is the panel ready to vote? Will the judges grant parole in this case? Will the judges grant parole in this case? Timer is started. Get your votes in. Get your votes in. Will the judges grant parole in this case? I ain't gonna lie. I believe this man is going back in. Listen, man, you gonna tell me that you are granted freedom early under stipulations, and the stipulations is that you got to pay fees every month and certain things you're supposed to do, and this guy ain't paid the fees, but he was working the whole time, and he said that his bills and stuff uh got too much for him and stuff. Like, bro, you tell me you still had a phone and you ain't pay that? You ain't pay that money to the parole people? You telling me that you had cable and internet and you ain't pay that money to? Man, listen. What are you doing with all those things? 2 years. This man has not made a payment in 2 years and says he's been working the whole time. That's like a slap in the face to the judges. I also noticed something that I think a lot of these guys lie about using drugs. I think some of them say that they use drugs in hope that maybe they'll have some leniency on them because they might have a problem, and hope that they could get into some drug treatment instead of some do jail time. Because one thing they point out is when you're on drugs, how do you keep a job? Like, how do you keep any of that stuff when you're on drugs like that? So I notice a lot of those guys, they say that. Make sure y'all get y'all votes in. Get y'all votes in. We got 27 people watching, 28 people watching, 17 votes. Let's get them votes in. This guy, I mean, this one seems pretty cut and dry. Pretty clear case. Guilty, guilty. Guilty, guilty. This man blamed everything on COVID. He blamed everything on C-19 years after C-19. So it's like, come on, brother. What we doing here? What are we doing here? So let's see what the judges would have to say about this. This is oh man. He said he out of here. You violated for less than that. Hey, this type of stuff is very serious. I think some people take it for granted. You said my PayPal that's listed isn't working. Hold on, let me see. Let me see. Let me check this out real quick. Let me see what's going on here. One second. Oh, sorry about that. I didn't finish setting up my account. Sorry about that. Let me hold on. Let me finish setting it up. And sorry about that, y'all. I didn't even realize I didn't finish setting that up. Thank you for letting me know about that, Sheila B. Appreciate that. Um, let's see. Let me link. Gotta link my bank account. Continue. Do all that. Continue. Oh crap. Hold on. 1 second, y'all. 1 second. Okay. All right. Wabbit Crime Network is set up. Somebody send me $1 through the donation link. Let me see what's going on here. Let me see. All right. Now let me end this vote. Because we are. All right. End the poll. So we says, will the judges grant parole in this case? We got 21 votes. 85% says no, and 14% says yes. We got some people that's hopeful. We got some hopeful people in here, and that's good to know. That's good to know that we got some hopeful people in here. Um, let me see. How do I? All right, so we got the people saying that they believe that this guy is not going to get paroled. All right, we're good to go. Did anybody send anything to the PayPal? Let me see if this shit work. I think I gotta link my account to this thing as well. God damn it. Um oh, okay. Got this link to this other thing. Let me see. Connect. Give me 1 second. This stuff should have been set up already. Shout out to the chat. One second. individual. Um, oops. Give me 1 second, Joe. I'm over here. I'm in the background filling stuff out. I should have been did this. Didn't realize. Didn't realize I didn't do it. What's going on? What's going on? Connected. Let me see. Not working for you, Rabbit Crime Network at PayPal. Um, let me see something. Well, I got it set up now. Let me see. Um, it should be working now. Should be working now. Email for Wabbit Crime Network. The email for Wabbit Crime Network is hold on. This might have to change this eventually. That's the email for Wabbit Crime Network. Let me see what it says. It says that its profile is at Wabbit Crime Network at PayPal. I have to change the email to Wabbit Crime Network email. See something. tried that as well. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure that out. You said it works with the email? Let me see. Okay, it worked with the email, the application status. All right, it works with the email. I definitely got it with the email. You're only getting sizz with a wrench. The link is in the thing, the description. Let me change it. Let me change the link. Let me change the link. That's probably what's going on too. I pinned the link. The link in the chat should work. So if it doesn't work directly, the link in the chat should work. But it does work. Thank you, Yvonne May, for because I was able to get that. All right, try the new link. That should work. Shouldn't have an issue with that. We'll see where it goes. Let's get back to the show. Sorry about the wait. Thank you everybody for having the patience while I figure this stuff out. Fairly new, and some of these things are still being worked on. All right, let's get to the judge's decision on this case. Read the votes again. We had 21 votes. Will the judges grant parole in this case? 85% of the people said no, and 14% said yes. So we got a couple of people that feel like he will get paroled in this case. Let's see how it goes.
Mr. Rochelle.
Mr. Branch, I find you guilty of violating conditions number 2, 3, 10, 13-1, 13-2 of your supervision contract. Therefore, I'm going to revoke your supervision.
Thank you, Mr. Roche. Ms. Miles?
Unfortunately, Mr. Branch, my vote is the same for the same reasons, but I'm gonna recommend that you get spent to Seat Hall and get some substance abuse, a long-term substance abuse treatment. That's my vote.
Thank you, Ms. Wise. Mr. Branch, I agree with both my colleagues, especially with the treatment that you need at Steve Hoyle. Your parole has been revoked today. Good luck to you, sir.
So, you said I do Steve Hoyle?
Well, that's been a recommendation. Your parole is revoked, so you're going back to prison. The question is, hopefully they can get you into a long-term treatment program to help you. Good luck to you, sir.
Damn. Well, there you have it. There you have it. Whoever thought that he wasn't going to get away with that, yeah, they didn't waste no time. They found him guilty. They found him guilty. They did not let him go. Which was pretty much obvious. It was obvious. He was doing too much. He was doing the most. All right. I just set up another one. Still trying to figure out this thing here. Did anybody try that link? I tried to send it to myself, but it wasn't letting me do it with the same account. I need to switch accounts. Let me see. Hold on. I'm about to try that link real quick. Hold on 1 second. I'm trying. I'm about to try right now. Brief intermission. Be right with you. I'm getting an error. Oh, they said they didn't. God damn it. Okay. Hmm. So I okay, so this is what's going on. The donation link is linked to the donation link is linked to the alerts. So in order to for you to for alerts to pop up, like for them to have your name pop up, you would have to donate through the link that I put in the chat. To send me a direct PayPal or direct donation, you basically would send it to Wabbit Crime Network or the email. So those will be direct donations, and they'll go straight to me without any notifications coming on the screen. But if to get the notifications on the screen, like with the names scrolling across the screen, you would have to do it through the donation link. So that's what I'm learning here. All right. Thank you for helping me with that. I appreciate it. We are going to move on to our next case. We got another case on the docket. Let's get to it. Thank you, everybody, for being patient with me. I'll be struggle streaming. I'll be struggle streaming, y'all. No, the email is not the same. It's actually SizTheMan23. I gotta change that. I gotta change it. Let me see if I can change that. I'm gonna have all that changed because I have the Wabbit Crime Network email, but it seems like I don't have that set up to my PayPal thing. So let me let Nightbot put it in the chat. Put my email in the chat. Yeah, I'm gonna have to change this by the next time I go live. But for now, I'm gonna put it. we got a new command, a new email command. And all right, for now. So that's where the email is going to go for now if you have to do it. All right, now let's get to our next case. I'm going to have all this set up next time I go live because I didn't know I had these issues going on. Did not know I had these issues going on, but we are ready for our next case. We are ready. Now, we're going to watch a case, as we know, guys. We're going to watch a case where inmate is looking to get paroled. He's going to plead his case and get interviewed by a panel of judges. After the interview is over, the judges will vote and decide whether or not they will grant parole to the inmate. So we are going to watch that. Right before the judge votes, I will pause the video and the audience will get a chance to vote on whether or not they think the inmate will get parole. And after we vote, I will give it 5 minutes, and then after 5 minutes, I will end the vote, and we'll read the results, and then we'll play the results of the panel of judges and see if we had it right or if we were accurate. So here we go with our next case. I'll be in the chat with everyone, and I'll be back when it's time to vote.
Today,
Yes, sir.
are you ready to proceed with this hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to read the allegations against you. First allegation is number 3. The offender failed to live at the address provided of 3414 Willow Glen River Road, Alexandria, Louisiana, 71301. The offender was residing at a prohibited entity at an address previously denied for a SORP located at 413 Hickory Street, Pineville, Louisiana, 71360. The offender was instructed upon release on August the 16th of 2023 to report to the approved address, and the offender failed to comply and never reported to the approved address. How do you plead to that allegation, Mr. Johnson?
Not good statement.
Not guilty with the statement?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Number 13, special conditions. Offenders shall follow all guidelines of sex offender guidelines. The offender failed to comply with sex offender guidelines and was in the presence of juveniles at a time of visit to this office. The offender has a juvenile victim and is prohibited from being around all juveniles at this time. How do you plead to that allegation?
Not guilty with a statement.
I'm sorry?
Not guilty with a statement.
Not guilty with the statement?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Whose case is this? Okay. Mr. Johnson, your case has been assigned to Mr. Alvin Roche. Mr. Roche will begin your questioning. Would you please answer any questions he might have?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Johnson, good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Johnson, give me the explanation for condition number 3. You failed to live at the address that was provided for you at 3414 Willow Glen River Road in Alexandria, and then you lived at an address that was denied prior to you being released. So give me your explanation.
Had no transportation.
Are you pardon?
I had no transportation.
No transportation.
No
Yeah.
transportation.
Okay, yeah. How did you get to 414 Hickory Street?
My mom.
So your mom could have brought you to the other address too.
Around that time, she was low on gas and she had received a paycheck and nothing like that.
So I don't even hear I was low on gas. Both of those addresses are in the city limits of Alexandria, Louisiana. Why did you go to an address that you were told that was not approved prior to you being released, and you were told not to go to that address?
Had no transportation.
but you had transportation to 414 Hickory, right?
Yes, sir. They came, they didn't want, came to pick me up. They stayed way in Warville, way in Pineville, way across the bridge because I'm
Okay,
sure what
okay, so basically, you didn't go to the address that was assigned to you, that was on your parole certificate, because your mother didn't have enough gas to get you there.
yes, sir, because
Okay, that's condition number 13. Special condition that you are prohibited from being in the presence of any juvenile. Why did you go to the parole officer with a juvenile in the car at the time of your visit?
at first I didn't know I was gonna be in the car around that time because my little brother came and got me that Monday morning because that was the only transportation I had a Monday morning for me to handle all my business for to go check in at the residence. Then I ain't know that my little nieces that was in the car at the time because he showed
Okay.
wasn't going.
When you got into the car to go to the parole officer and you saw your nieces in the car, why did you get in the car?
I didn't know.
Why didn't you call your parole officer?
I had no phone. I had no phone.
So nobody in the car had a phone. Nobody in the car had a cell phone.
Yeah, when a brother had a phone.
Why didn't you call the parole officer?
I know his number like that.
The only way that you can get to the office was to take a ride with juveniles in the car, and that was against regulations. Can I set up another appointment?
I didn't know. All this wasn't gonna happen.
Now, Mr. Johnson, let me talk to you for a second, please. You are a sex offender. You are a sex offender. You live by a different set of rules than anyone else. You cannot be within close proximity to any juvenile.
I know that.
You cannot live near nurses, any entity, school, church, daycare center, playground, or anywhere where there are juveniles participating in activity. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
You understand that you must live at the address that's affixed to your parole certificate.
Yes, sir.
And you blatantly broke those rules and did exactly what you want to do. You want to go to the home where your children were, and
No, no kids staying right there.
Who lived?
My mama. My
Who
mom.
lived at 413 Hickory?
My mama and my little brother. My little brother, 25 years old. Only two people on that live there.
So why didn't you were out 5 days?
Yes, sir.
The first day you were out, you couldn't get to 3414 Willie Glen River Road. Why didn't you go there the second or third day?
Because I had to plan for the spend time with my mother because I ain't see my mother like in.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. You're not interested in being out on supervision. You want to do exactly what you want to do, when you want to do it, and you have a gross disregard for conditions that were placed on you as a sex offender. What address did you use when you went to the sheriff's office to register as a sex offender?
When this time,
Yeah, when you got out in August, what address did you give the sheriff's office when you went to register as a sex offender?
I never had the full chance for the go because they
That-
locked me
that-
up that Monday morning.
That's exactly what I was getting at, Mr. Johnson. Within 48 hours of you being released, you needed to report to the sheriff's office, but you had a gross disregard for rules and regulations. Mr. Chairman?
I have one question. So, Mr. Johnson, why didn't you use your mother's address as your residence? You said no children were living there. Why didn't
Oh,
you?
ma'am.
Why didn't you present that one as your sex offender registration address?
I tried to. They denied it.
Why?
They say because they had like a field, like a baseball field, where they cut grass, but really,
Oh, okay.
really, it's the city of Pineville where they work at.
Oh, but I guess it shows up on the map as a baseball field where kids assemble.
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
okay, I just wondering why you wasn't your resident in the first place. That's all I had, Chairman. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson, is there anything you'd like to say before we vote?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to prove myself when I came home. So I had a job side up that Monday, but they locked me up and stuff like that. So I was trying my best. I went home like 5 days for to get myself full established yet.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Russia? Down.
All right. It's that time again, y'all. It's that time again. Get ready to vote. Get ready to vote. Timer has started. Vote is in the chat. Get y'all votes in. Will the judges grant parole in this case here? Wow. So this guy is a sex offender. He was told as a sex offender, you live by different rules than the rest of citizens. You are not allowed to be around certain people, around children. You're not allowed to be in certain areas. You have to report. You have to be on the registry. You have a lot of stipulations that goes along with your existence amongst the general public. And that's due to nobody's fault but your own. Awful decisions and lack of self-control is what got you here. Now, this man has been given another chance to be in society amongst people, and they wanted to see if he will be able to be under supervision and follow the rules in society. And this man, within the first 5 days of being out, did not follow any of the protocols or stipulations based on the terms of his release. This man had excuses. This man was around children within the first 5 days of him being out, and he clearly is in total non-comprehension of what's going on. All he had was excuses, and it's clear that this guy wants to do whatever he wants to do, to me. Because so his excuse to not going to the address he was supposed to go the first day was that they were low on gas. Okay. Why didn't you go the second or third day? This man's response was that he wanted to spend time with his mother because he ain't see his mother in a long time. Sir, do you not understand that you was just in prison and they let you out on parole? How do you decide that you're not gonna follow what they said that you need to do because you wanted to spend time with your mother because you ain't see her? Do you think that that is acceptable? Do you think that you telling them that you wanted to do something other than what they told you to do, you think that's acceptable? Do you understand that you are not in control here? So there's a lot of and we can see that his education level is not as high. You know, I'm not sure if his comprehension is great. He got frustrated at the point when they asked him if anyone else in the car had a phone, because clearly he knew that his brother had a phone. His first excuse was he didn't have a phone. Well, you don't have a phone. Did anyone else have a phone? He got frustrated. Man. Then he says he didn't remember the number to the parole officer. He didn't know it. So all these things, these excuses doesn't help. It shows that he didn't do everything in his power to try to abide by the stipulations that was given to him in the terms of his release. He didn't try. He didn't make no effort. And it didn't seem that his release was as important to him as it should have been. And we got 35 seconds left to vote. Get your votes in. Get your votes in. Shout out to Miss Eve, just becoming a new member on the Web of Crime Network. This is interesting. We got 20 seconds left. Yeah, I'm convinced he's not going home. He's not going home. In the first couple of days, you messed up so much. It's not acceptable. All right, time to end the votes. Time to end the votes. The votes are in. Ladies and gentlemen, the votes are in. The votes are in. Will the judges grant parole in this case? Well, 22 people voted, and 90% said no, he will not get parole, and 9% said yes. So we got a couple people that believes he might be granted parole. Let's see how it goes. It's time.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Johnson, I find you have violated conditions number 3 and condition number 13 of your parole supervision contract. Therefore, I'm going to revoke your supervision.
Thank you, Mr. Roche. Yes, sir.
My vote is to know that you know that. It just is unfortunate you couldn't figure out another way. My vote is the same for the same reasons.
Mr. Johnson, you received 2 votes to revoke. My vote likewise is the same. Your parole has been revoked today. Good luck to you, sir.
Well, there you have it. Someone says I have an echo. Are you sure? Do I have an echo? Can you guys hear me clearly? Can you hear me clearly, or do I have an echo? Yes, there's an echo. Oh. Hold on, let me see. Did I just start having an echo? How about now? Oh, no. That doesn't work. I don't know why I have an echo. No, I did not have an echo on for effect. Hold on, let me see. I don't know why I have an echo. All right, let me try to figure it out. Said the video doesn't have an echo, but when I talk, I got an echo. How long has this been happening? Said it just happened before I restarted the video. Trying to figure out what would it give me an echo right now. How about now? Do I have an echo now? Testing, testing. No echo now. But I don't think y'all be able to hear the video if testing, testing. Oh, I think testing, testing. Let me see something.
Hey, good luck to you.
It's the same for the same reasons.
Mr. Johnson, you received
Are you
two
guys
votes to revoke. My vote likewise is the same. Your parole has been revoked today. Good luck to you.
Are you guys able to hear that? Did y'all just hear the video playing? Let me see.
Same for the same reasons.
Mr. Johnson, you received two votes to revoke. My vote likewise is.
Okay, so y'all heard that. How about now? Am I echoing now? Testing, testing, testing. Am I echoing now? All right, so I got that. I fixed it. I fixed it. I don't know how to get rid of this shit though. that. All right. All right. We good to go. We good to go. All right. So overwhelmingly, the majority of people, they figured out it wasn't gonna work out for this guy. So let's get to our next one. Let's get to our next one. Y'all ready for the next one? Are you ready? Shout out to the chat. All right. Let me go back over how this goes. Um, this is a parole board hearing. The inmate is up for parole, and they are going to a panel of judges and at the parole board, and the judges will interview the inmate, and they will then decide. They will vote and decide whether or not the inmate will get granted parole. So they will provide the name, the docket number. You will learn about the case, why they were arrested, how long they've been in jail, what is their sentence date. You're gonna get all that information, and if you want to get any more information about any of these cases, you can click the link in the description to go to the parole board and find any information on any one of these cases. Right before the judges vote, I will pause the video, and then I will do a poll in the chat where the audience will vote, and the audience will get 5 minutes to vote and decide whether or not they think the judges will grant parole in this case. And after the 5 minutes is over, I will end the poll, read the results of the audience, and then I will play the results of the judges voting on whether or not they will grant or deny parole to see if the audience was correct or if the audience was accurate. So we are on to our next case. And I will be in the chat until it's time to vote. And here we go.
931. Our next case is Mr. Reuben Anderson. Mr. Anderson, would you please give us your full name and DOC number?
Reuben Anderson, 214230.
Mr. Anderson, let me explain our process to you. First, I'm going to read some information into the record. Once I do that, we'll conduct a parole interview with you. At the appropriate time, we will allow those persons who wish to have input to speak. Present here today, Mr. Daniel Damaris is here today and wishes to speak. Ms. Mary Lou Newton is here in person but does not wish to speak. At the end, you'll have an opportunity to make a statement to the to the board, and then the board will vote. Do you understand our process?
Yes, sir.
This is the matter of Reuben J. Anderson, DOC number 214230, date of birth February the 17th of 1959. He's a first-time felony offender. He has a parole eligibility date of September the 8th of 2023, an adjusted good time date of April the 11th of 2029, and a full-term date of September the 8th of 2033. He is currently serving a 30-year sentence on the charge of manslaughter, having been sentenced on July the 12th of 2004. Mr. Anderson, is that information accurate?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Anderson, your case has been assigned to me, so I will begin our interview process. Mr. Anderson, how old are you today, sir?
64 years old.
And how long have you been in prison on these charges?
A little over 20 years.
So you were 44, 43, 44 years old at the time this occurred?
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about Reuben Anderson at 43, 44 years old. Were you working?
Yes, sir.
What kind of work were you doing?
I was in the construction business. I was superintendent for Caribbean Construction Company.
How much education had you had?
I graduated from high school and I had 2 years of college.
Were alcohol or drugs involved at all in your life at that time?
We were drinking the night this occurred, but I never did drugs, ever.
Okay, well, talk to me a little bit about your drinking. How often would you drink?
I guess every day, 2 or 3 beers after work.
You consider yourself to be an alcoholic?
No,
Now, after having been in prison and taking a few courses and having time to reflect, do you consider yourself back then to have been an alcoholic?
no.
So tell me what happened on September the 6th of 2023. First off, what was your relationship back then? Tell me what was going on with you.
I was at Jay's house to watch a football
Okay.
game.
Let me slow you down a little bit. Tell me what your relationship was with Mr. Jay Damaris.
We were friends,
Okay.
and I was at his house for a football game, but I was at his house every day working on his house after work. After work, when I got off, I went to his house, and I was
So
doing
you
work on his house.
were not living there?
No,
Okay, go ahead.
I would work on his house till 9, 10 o'clock at night, and then sometimes I would stay there, and because it was so far for me to go home.
Okay, so what happened?
We were watching the game.
Who is we?
Jay and I, and a young lady named Rachel, I believe.
Okay,
And Rachel
who
called.
was Rachel to either of you?
Rachel was someone I was trying to help stay off the streets,
Meaning what?
meaning she was a longtime prostitute and drug offender.
How were
And I
you
was trying to
helping
help
her
her
stay
stay
off
clean.
the streets? What were you doing to help her stay off the streets?
Keeping her with me wherever I went when I was off work.
So did she live with you?
No,
Did
she
she live
lived
with, did she live at Mr. Damaris' home?
she stayed there quite often. She was friends with Mr. Damaris's wife.
All right. Then go ahead, continue. What happened?
After the game, when I went to leave, I got in an altercation with a drug dealer that she had called.
Okay, let me slow you down. You said y'all were drinking. What were y'all drinking?
We were drinking beer.
How much beer?
I probably had 3 beers, 3, maybe 4.
Anybody else drinking?
Everybody was drinking.
Yeah.
But,
Who all was inside? Where did you get in this argument or this altercation with a drug dealer?
outside the house.
And how did that occur?
When I went to leave, he accosted me. He obviously thought I was Jay.
Why were you leaving?
Game was over. I had to go to work in the morning. I was going home.
You and Mr. Damaris did not get in an argument and he didn't kick you out of the house and say, give me keys, don't ever come back?
This is what they tried to say at the trial, but that never happened.
Okay, let's slow down a little bit. You had a trial.
Yes, sir.
Those were the facts that were presented to the jury.
That's what
Those
Rachel
were the
testified
facts
to.
that were presented to the jury.
I would imagine so, yes.
Well, you were there, weren't you?
Yes.
And
But
the
I
jury,
never had an altercation with Jay.
and the jury came back guilty of manslaughter.
The second trial, yes.
Okay. Same facts were brought out.
I believe so, yes.
Well, you were there, weren't you?
Yes,
How many murder trials have you had?
we had 2 trials.
Well, I understand, but I would assume you would remember, even though it was a long time ago, what was said at your trials.
They brought up a lot of things that just weren't true. They brought up the fact that they tried to say it was a fact that I was living with Jay, and I wasn't living there at Jay's
All
house.
right. So how was it that you ended up shooting and killing Mr. Demarest? If you're involved with this drug dealer, how did you shoot Mr. Demarest?
I never shot Mr. Demarest.
Okay.
I'm convicted of shooting, but I never shot Mr. Demarest.
So
I
what
never
happened?
had a gun.
So what happened?
Mr. Demarest got in an altercation with this drug dealer over money that he owed him. And I ran. That's all I know. I heard the shot go off after I was in my truck.
And I assume, Mr. Anderson, that you told this same story that you're telling us today to two different juries. Is that right?
No, the first
No,
jury, the first trial I had, this is what I told them. The
Okay.
second trial, my lawyer advised me to just stay off the witness stand because they didn't have enough evidence to convict me.
He was
So
wrong.
Excuse me?
He was wrong.
Well, obviously he was wrong. I didn't get to get on the stand in the second trial.
So your position is you didn't do this. You're an innocent man in prison.
Yes, sir.
So tell me what you've done while you've been in prison.
Excuse me, I couldn't hear
Tell me
that.
what things have you accomplished while you've been in prison?
I took 2 years vote check and completed that. I took anger management and living in balance.
Okay. And what did you get out of those programs?
I didn't get any good time.
I'm not talking about what kind of credit you got. What did you learn, or what did you understand, or what did you comprehend about yourself by taking these classes? You took an anger management class. Did you have
Yes.
anger issues?
Well, I took it because I was convicted of manslaughter and I thought that it would look good on my parole.
So what you've done while you've been in prison is taken whatever it is you thought might help you get out of prison.
I took whatever classes that were available to me.
Okay, well, did you learn anything? Was anything of any value to you that you took? Or were you just sitting in there hoping to pad your resume for the time that you came before this board?
Everything that I've learned makes me who I am now. I don't understand how to answer that question.
Well,
I've
it's a
been
very
modeled-
simple question. Okay, you're probably going to go back to your cell and you're going to say the guy who was questioning me was fairly aggressive at me. I don't think he believed me. That's what you get out of the discussion you and I are having today. What did you get out of the classes that you went to? Someone talked to you about anger. They talked to you about your emotions. They talked to you about your feelings. Did any of that resonate with you that, hey, that might be me?
Yes, sir.
I learned something from this.
Well, I learned to avoid confrontations. I learned to step back and take a deep breath.
What did you learn in living in balance?
It's basically the way I lived. I don't know how to answer that question.
There's nothing you can do about what I'm about to say, but you certainly have opposition to your release.
Yes, sir.
Law enforcement opposition, victim family opposition. You did have a DWI back in the day, I guess. So drinking, you still don't think drinking is an issue with you?
I've never had a DWI, ever.
You didn't have a DWI? I thought I saw a DWI on your record. Maybe I'm
No.
wrong.
No, sir.
Let me look, let me look. You might be correct.
It was operation with motorboat.
It was a reckless operation. Well, no, you had a, yeah, all right.
We had a hit and run, but that was concerned.
Warden, what can you, Mr., who is there with you there?
Excuse me?
Is there a staff member there with you today?
Yes, sir, Sergeant Marsh. However, he's housed next door at DC2. And for logistic reasons, he's here at DC3 for the hearing. So I can't tell you anything about him. I've never met the man.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Well, we appreciate you coming. All right, that's all I've got. Any questions?
I have one question.
Okay.
Good morning, sir. There was a arrest for fishing contest fraud. Do you remember what that was? What you did then?
Yes, ma'am. I was arrested for fraud for a fishing contest, the Grand Isle Rodeo. I won the rodeo, and I beat out the second place person was a judge in Lafourche Parish, and he complained about it. I was arrested for it. I went to trial for it, and I was found not guilty.
Oh, okay. Well, what were the allegations? You remember?
The allegations was that I didn't catch the fish legally.
Oh, okay. All righty. All right, that's all I had. Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you very much. Now we'll hear from Mr. Daniel Demarest.
Good morning.
I have a statement that I've written, but I'd just like to read the board. Okay.
Yes, sir.
The scene of this horrific crime was our grandparents' home, where we used to go every holiday with my aunts, uncles, and all of our cousins. It was the place where we had wonderful memories of growing up. All those wonderful memories were wiped away on September the 6th, 2003, when Mr. Reuben Anderson shot my brother, Francis J. Demarest, in cold blood. Not the last memory I have of my grandparents' home is the stain of the pool of blood that my brother was lying in the next day. I was reminded of this of the crime scene in court as I saw for the first time the 4x4 white poster board with a picture of my brother lying on the ground with a white t-shirt with a hole in his chest and a pool of blood that he was lying in. What a difference to childhood memories we had. This home was at one time a political think tank for many prominent political officials from the city of New Orleans, and sometimes served as their campaign headquarters. My mother and father taught and showed us growing up that kindness should be practiced in our daily lives. There were instances when our parents would see a child in need and reach out to them to help them. When I was in the 5th grade, playing ball at a local playground, my mom discovered that there was one of my teammates that did not have clean clothes, but did not have enough money to buy cleats to play. My mom and dad went and spoke to his parents, and they asked if they could help. The next thing we knew, he was living with us and going to Catholic school with us. My parents paid tuition, bought uniforms, shoes, jackets, and all the necessary things they needed to go to school and play ball. There were many other examples of acts of kindness displayed throughout our childhood. Several acts of kindness my brother showed eventually got him murdered. He and his wife, Patricia Demarest, were separated and were living apart. Patty called Jay and explained that she had lost her job, and my brother's response was, "If you come live with me until you get a job and get back on your feet." He also allowed his killer, Reuben Anderson, and his girlfriend to live there with them when they were down on their luck. Reuben Anderson moved in, though he knew his girlfriend had open warrants for her arrest in Jefferson Parish. He was also harboring a fugitive, unbeknownst to my brother. After Jay's death, his estranged wife collected his insurance benefits and his pension up until her death just a few years ago. From the testimony of his girlfriend, the couple broke up the day of the murder, and then a fight ensued between Reuben and his girlfriend. My brother was not going to allow a man to put his hands on a woman. Then a fight broke out between Reuben and Jay. After Jay whipped his ass, he asked him to leave the house and give him his keys. He left and came back later, and Jay told him to get out and ordered him off the property. They both went outside, and Jay could be heard saying, "So what are you going to do with that gun? Kill me, you mother effer?" Then Reuben Anderson shot him at point blank range with a sawed-off 12-gauge shotgun. Not a gun used for hunting, but for killing. We were told by the coroner and one of the police officers that Jay could not have survived that gunshot wound. After Reuben shot him, he ran and drove off, not even trying to help Jay, which showed his true character. That to me shows no remorse, and that is characteristic of a cold-hearted killer. After this report aired on all of the news starting that night, September 6, 2003, Reuben's girlfriend turned herself in, and Reuben turned himself in the same next day. A brief history of our family. My father was an attorney and a reporter of mortgages for Orleans Parish, and his father was that before him. My mother worked for the Department of Finance of the USDA, and as did my younger sister, Mary Lou. Jay worked for the Administrative Office of the Louisiana State Supreme Court. As you can see from the above, our family was all about servicing people and being outstanding members of the community. My father had parole power, and I can remember my father getting calls in the middle of the night on holidays and vacations to help someone get out, get parole. And he did it and never complained. In the appellate process, the defendant accused the court of partiality that the defense attorney knew my father, also an attorney. And rightfully so, because he knew almost all the attorneys who practiced in Orleans Parish, since he and my grandfather had held public office for over 50 years in Orleans Parish, where they worked with them every day. A tragic and horrific crime such as murder causes collateral damages with families, victims, members, and friends. At the time of the trial, no one knows the extent of that damage may be and never is considered. That could be multiple victims that this affects. The person who was affected most in our family was our mother. I'm sorry. My mother was born to a woman who did not want her at birth, so she never knew her mother. She was raised by her father and her grandmother. She had a hard life growing up and always wondered why her mother abandoned her. My grandfather and grandmother raised her the best they could, putting her through Catholic grammar school and high school. She graduated high school with honors and went on to work for the military at Camp Leroy Johnson in New Orleans. She met my father, Francis J. Demers Jr., fell in love, and they got married. My mom gave birth to our older sister, Susan. Upon birth, my mom and dad were notified that she was diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor, and my parents were told that this was terminal and that she could live to be 1 or 4. Unfortunately, Susan lived until she was 7 years old and died 1 week after her first Holy Communion. My parents were devastated. They never got over it until they had another child, my brother, Francis J. Demers Jr. My parents cherished Jay because they believed that he was sent to them by God to make Susan's step easier to deal with. Jay went to St. Aloysius High School for 3 years and then finished at Brother Martin High School and was elected the first student council president. He graduated with honors and then attended the University of Notre Dame for 2 years and maintained a 3.5 GPA while he was there. He was feeling homesick, and after 2 years away from his family and friends, he returned home and graduated from Loyola University and received his bachelor's. He went on to work for my father as the chief clerk of the mortgage office. And then when my father retired, he went on to work for the administrative office of the Louisiana State Supreme Court, where he was employed until his death. Early on, I spoke about collateral damage of families at the time a crime like this is committed. Can you imagine the trauma and grief a mother goes through when she never knew her mother, and then both her oldest children are taken from her, one through natural causes and the other child taken from her by a heartless, stone-cold killer. There are no words to say what my mother was feeling. And her reaction was when my sister and I delivered the news about Jay the next morning. She was distraught, angry, showing all the emotions you would expect of a grieving mother would share. This was compounded by all the bottled up emotions that were still there from Susan's death. So it's like she was grieving the loss of 2 of her children. This I thought was too much for her to handle, but faith got her through it. After Jay's funeral, the real tragedy began. My mother, who was strong German heritage, she had this tough exterior, but was the most sweet and gentle person on the inside and loved her kids more than life itself. We saw that James got broke my mother's will and spirit to live. She started not eating and drinking, and she was grieving Jay's death. You could see that she was starving herself and refraining from drinking. After a little over 21 months, my mom was admitted to the hospital. Not because of a medical condition or illness, her organs began shutting down and she gave into life and passed away from a broken heart. The hardest thing in my life was watching my father tell my mother goodbye after they had been married for over 50 years. We were told that my dad would not be far behind because he would also grieve the loss of my mother. And it was just 9 months later and my dad was gone. In this case, the act of violence by Reuben Anderson caused 3 deaths in our family. By his cowardice act of pulling the trigger and now how does he even have the audacity to ask to be paroled? He made a conscious decision to leave the scene of the crime, to get a sawed-off shotgun, came back with the intent and sole purpose of murdering my brother. My brother never got to see his godchild graduate from high school, college, get married, his 3 great nephews born, grow at his mother and father's funeral. Victims' families versus convicts' families. Convict has possibility of visitation with his families if they so choose, possibility of parole, speaking of family through phone calls, letters, being set free.
Mr. Demarest, we've read your letters. If you would just wrap it up, tell us if there's anything else you'd like to say. We do have your letter and we have read.
I'd just like to say that this is affecting our family deal. And this is something that will never be. It's something that carries you great. And I can just say this, that it has been, since the day this happened, it's been 7,353 days. And the last memory I have of my brother was Labor Day weekend, and we left. When he kissed me on my cheek, and his beer running against me. And I feel like everything wrong.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Anderson, is there anything you'd like to say before the panel votes?
No, sir.
Panel ready to vote?
Yes.
Wow. First time I ever heard somebody say, nah, I ain't got nothing to say. Oh, man. All right. Listen. We just being interactive. Some of these cases are going to be completely clear as day. But let's get our votes in. The timer's in here. It's also an opportunity for me to give my thoughts on the case. So they trying to go to lunch. You want to hear the first trial? Well, you can rewind. These lives are not locked, so you can rewind. You said the first trial, like the first trial that he had. This guy doesn't believe that he did the crime, but it sounds like witnesses said he was the one who did it, and they saw him do it. And I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what happened here. He had 2 trials. He's very convinced. He's confident that he did not do this crime. So I'm a little lost for words here, trying to figure out. After doing 20 years, you think he might have forgot he did it, if he did do it, or did he just not do it, or does he? This is an interesting one. You wonder why they didn't convict on the first one? That's an interesting question. Yeah. It's an interesting question. I'm interested now. I might have to go look into his name because it sounds like this case made the news. And I might have to go check out his name. I forgot his name already, but I'll have to go rewind and go look into this one. This might be a interesting follow up if there's like a news article or whatever. Could probably do a little video giving an update. You said 100%. I mean, this guy had no closing statements for himself. It's either he knew he got it in the bag, or he knows that it's pointless. Now, the victim's brother who read the statement, it's a very lengthy statement, and he pretty much gave details of everything on how everything went down, if that's how it went down. And man, that sounds horrific, man. It might be the reason why he's like, you know what, I'm not even gonna, I'm done talking. That's probably where he's at with it. It seems like he doesn't have no more interest in trying to defend himself. He seems like he's pretty much like, you know what, it don't make no sense talking. So I definitely don't see him going anywhere. I see him going right back to his cell. That's what that looks like to me. The way the judges were talking, especially that one judge that said, "You're gonna go back to your cell," and said, "That guy, he doesn't believe me." It's like, man, that's letting him know early. It's not gonna work out for you, bruh. It's not gonna work out. Um, he came there proclaiming his innocence, and how does that work out? Do they ever let people out on parole that still say they are innocent? I wonder if that happens. Because even if you don't get let out on parole, if you reach a early release date or good time, something like that, I believe they let you out anyway. They have to let you out anyway. So I think some people might just end up with that option. We got 15 seconds left, and then I'm going to end the poll. This one looks pretty much. Let's see how it goes. All right, the polls are closed. The polls are closed. Wow, this one is unanimous. Unanimous, 24 votes, all in favor of no, the judges will not grant parole in this case. That's where the entire chat who voted is on this topic right here, on this case. So let's see what they have to say. Judges?
Mr. Anderson, I've reviewed your file, and I must say I'm very disappointed in what I've heard today. I don't think you've been very honest with us about what actually happened. On one hand, on the other hand, I think you've been pretty honest about why you took these courses and what you hoped to do in taking these courses. I just think you've got more work to do. I'll accept the fact that if you want to continue to claim that you're innocent, that's fine. But I would have thought and hoped that you would learn something while you've been in prison. The damage that was done to the victim's family, all of those things, some sort of contrition, some sort of understanding, but I haven't seen it. I didn't see it at all. You have law enforcement opposition. You certainly have obvious victim opposition. I think you need to do some more work internally. So my vote today would be to deny your request for parole. Mr. Rucha.
Mr. Chairman, my vote is the same for the same reasons.
Ms. Anderson, despite two trials, well, first of all, I want to speak to the victim's family. We really appreciate your participation in the process. I know how hard this was, but you know, the law is the law. He has rights just like you guys have rights, and I appreciate y'all coming today. And we did get to read the letter, and I put in my notes, it's one of the best letters I've had, and it's almost 8 years I've served. Very poignant, very poignant. But Mr. Anderson, I'm just really shocked that you lack no insight or awareness of the crime and its impact. You just presented none of that. No remorse, no insight or awareness of the crime. And the reasons I've already been stated, I'm gonna go back to my vote is denied as well.
Mr. Anderson, you have 3 votes to deny your parole. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
He said, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Seems like I deserve to go back. Don't look like I'm ready to come out yet. Got some things to work on myself. And so yeah, that did not work out. That did not work out. I'd like to thank everybody for their participation. We got one more to go. Did anybody get granted parole today? Don't seem like it. It don't seem like it. Well, let's see if the last one is the lucky one. Let's see if the last one is the lucky one. Now, this one is an interesting case. Now, in this case, the inmate does not speak English. The inmate speaks Spanish. And they had to get a translator involved as a third party in order to make this case happen. And there was actually a process to how this went. They called basically the court called up agencies that just have translators and get random people to actually be a translator in these proceedings, and as long as they've done it before in courts. And I was like, that was interesting how that worked out. But we have this case. This is our last case, and this one has a translator involved. So, as usual, we'll go over how this goes. This is a inmate that's up for parole. He's in front of a panel of judges. The judges are the parole board. They are going to interview him, the inmate, and decide whether or not the inmate is going to get paroled. They're going to decide whether or not they grant him parole. So, right before the judges vote, I will pause the video and put a poll in the chat for the audience to vote to see if the audience thinks that the judges will grant parole or not. In this case, the case will have the name and the docket number of the inmate, and you can take that information to, if you want to go and look further into any of these cases or any of these inmates. The link is in the description to the parole board. You will learn the nature of the crime, how long the inmate has been arrested, how long they've been in jail, how long their sentence is, and we'll see how it goes. So I'll be in the chat with everyone until it's time to vote. So let's see how this goes. Do remember, this is a non-English speaking inmate, so there is a translator involved.
Our next case is Mr. Alejandro Salazar. Mr. Salazar, would you please give us your full name and DOC number. Mr. Salazar, can you understand me at all?
No.
Okay. Mr. Salazar, we do have an interpreter. Would the interpreter please introduce herself?
Tenemos en la línea un intérprete, señor Salazar.
Okay. Gracias.
Okay, thank you.
And ma'am, for the record, would you please introduce yourself for the record and state who you work with?
Thank you for calling Language Line Solution. This is Jacqueline 211086.
And you are a Spanish interpreter?
Yes, sir.
And are you certified or qualified in some way? Could you tell us what those qualifications are?
I have received training from Language Line Solution. That's all my certifications, sir.
Okay. And have you interpreted before in court hearings or any other sort of hearings such as this?
Not this one specifically, sir. Mostly like initial appearances and such.
In court hearings, though, at initial appearances before judges, before magistrates, things like.
Magistrates, correct, sir.
Okay, all right, okay. Would you please ask Mr. Salazar to give us his full name and his DOC number, please?
Señor Salazar, diga su nombre completo y su número DOC, por favor.
Alejandro Maldonado Salazar, 740-162.
Alejandro Maldonado Salazar, 740162.
Mr. Salazar, today is a parole hearing. I want to explain our process to you.
Señor Salazar, el día de hoy usted tiene una audiencia para libertad bajo palabra. Para antes de empezar, quiero explicarle cómo funciona el proceso.
Okay.
I'm going to read some information into the record.
Yo voy a leer información para que quede en el récord.
Once I do that, we will then have an opportunity for those persons who are here and wish to speak. Currently is Miss Maria Campos, who is the victim's mother, wishes to speak.
Una vez que yo termine con eso, le brindaremos la oportunidad a las personas que se encuentran por acá para que puedan hablar. Tenemos a la señora María Campos, que es la madre de la víctima, que desea hablar.
We will conduct a parole interview with you. You will have an opportunity to answer whatever questions the parole board has. And at the end of that process, you'll have an opportunity to make a statement to the board before the board votes.
Después de esto, usted va a tener la oportunidad de contestar las preguntas de la entrevista de parte de lo que es la Junta de Libertad Condicional. Al final de eso, usted va a poder tener la oportunidad de brindar su declaración a la Junta de Libertad Condicional antes de que la Junta emita su voto.
Okay.
Do you understand our process?
¿Ha entendido cómo funciona el proceso completo?
Sí.
Yes.
I'm going to read some information into the record now.
Ahora voy a pasar a leer la información para que quede en el récord.
This is the matter of Alejandro Salazar.
Caso de Alejandro Salazar.
Date of birth, September the 10th of 1975.
Fecha de nacimiento 10 de septiembre de 1975.
He is a first-class felony offender.
Él es un ofensor de clase 1, delito mayor.
He has a full term date of May the 19th of 2024.
Tiene una fecha completa a término 19 de mayo de 2024.
He is currently serving a 7-year sentence.
Él se encuentra sirviendo una sentencia de 7 años actualmente.
On the charges of indecent behavior with the juvenile.
Respondiendo a cargos de comportamiento indecente con juvenil.
Having been sentenced on August the 8th of 2018.
Habiendo sido sentenciado el 8 de agosto de 2018.
Is all of that accurate, Mr. Salazar?
¿Le suena todo eso correcto, señor Salazar?
Yes. Sí.
Yes.
Your case has been assigned to Miss Pearl Wise. Would you please answer any questions Ms. Wise may have?
Su caso ha sido asignado a la señorita Carol Weiss. ¿Puede usted, por favor, contestar cualquier pregunta que tenga la señorita Weiss para usted?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good morning.
Buenos
Mo-
días.
Buenos días.
Good morning.
I see that he took the class Strengthening Families. Tell me one or two things he learned in that class.
Yo veo que usted tomó la clase de fortalecimiento de las familias. Si me puede decir, por favor, una o dos cosas que usted haya aprendido en esa clase.
Aprendí pues, o sea, respetar más que nada a la familia.
I understood mostly respect the family.
Okay. The police report indicates when the victim told her mother what he had been doing to her, she had to go to the hospital. Tell us what happened to her.
El reporte,
Yes, go ahead.
el reporte policial indica que cuando la víctima le dejó saber a su madre lo que usted le había estado haciendo a ella, ella tuvo que ir al hospital. ¿Nos puede decir, por favor, qué fue lo que le ocurrió a ella?
Supuestamente la niña dice en el video que la llevaron al hospital, pero que no había enfermera, no había doctora, que no la atendieron.
The girl in the video says that she was taken to the hospital supposedly, but there was no female nurse or doctor, and she was not seen.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Has he taken the sex offender treatment class? And if he has not, why not?
Si me permite preguntarle, ¿tomó usted lo que es la clase de tratamiento para los ofensores sexuales? Y en caso de que no haya tomado esta clase, ¿por qué razón no lo hizo?
Porque no me han llamado para dos clases, la que dijo de la familia y la de las 100 horas, programa para Utah. No me han hablado.
¿Programa qué, perdón?
Para de family y la otra es la de para, ¿cómo se llama? 100 horas de pre-release program.
They have not called me for two classes. They have not called me for the family class or the 100 hours pre-release program class.
Tell him.
He's completed the pre-release program.
Right, that's what I'm showing as well. That's what I'm showing. Thank you, sir.
And he also has a certificate for Strengthening Families program.
Thank you, sir. That's what our records show.
El oficial está indicando que ya usted tiene un certificado. Tiene el certificado del programa de fortalecimiento de familias y tiene también lo que es el certificado para lo que es el programa previo a liberación de 100 horas. La señorita Carol indica que eso es lo que el récord indica también, que usted ya tiene el certificado.
Sí.
Ajá, yes.
Ask him if he is released today, what are his plans?
¿Cuál es su plan si a usted se le libera el día de hoy?
Primeramente, ver mi familia, trabajar, y tengo un problema de hace 3 años que no me atiende mi ojo izquierdo. Ya me revisaron dos especialistas. Uno dice que tengo cataractas y otro dice que necesito trasplante de córnea. Ahora tengo miedo de perder mi ojo. Yo entré bien a la cárcel.
First off, see my family work, and I also have a problem with my left eye that I've had for 3 years. I've already seen 2 specialists for it. One of them says that I have cataract. The other one says that I need cornea surgery, a transplant, and I am afraid of losing my eye because when I came into the jail, I was in good shape.
Ask him to see his family where?
¿Dónde vería usted a su familia?
Tengo familia aquí en México.
¿Perdón?
En México, que yo voy a ser
Ah,
deportado.
I have family in Mexico. I am going to be deported.
Thank you. I wanted to make sure he was aware of that. Let's inform him that the law enforcement community is opposed to his early release.
Muchísimas gracias. Nada más quería estar consciente de que usted estuviera al tanto de esto. Lo que es la comunidad de reforzamiento de la ley sería informada de su liberación temprana.
And that's all. Chairman,
Eh,
thank you. Thank you for answering my questions.
Eso es todo. Gracias por contestar mis preguntas.
That's all I heard you.
Now let's hear from Miss Maria Campos. Miss Campos?
Ahora vamos a escuchar de parte de la señorita María Campos. Señora Campos.
Miss Campos, can you speak English?
Señora Campos, ¿puede usted hablar en inglés?
Yes, I can.
Sí, sí puedo.
Miss Campos, if you would introduce yourself and tell us what you'd like us to know, please.
Señora Campos, si puede por favor presentarse usted misma y dejarnos saber qué es lo que usted quiere que sepamos, por favor.
Yes, I sure can. Well, I believe that y'all letting him out release early is a bad judgment. What he did to our lives did a big impact on not only my life, but my daughter's life. He scarred her for life. What he did to her, he not only did it to her in just a matter of, let's say, just a once incident, he did it in a range of 3 years. He affected her very, very deeply. He says he's going to get out and he will get deported. Yeah, that's easily said, but a lot of people know that people, yes.
I'm going to interrupt you just for a second because we have a translator that is trying to translate everything that you're saying to Mr. Salazar. So he needs to at least be able to hear what you're saying. So I'm going to ask you, and I should have done this to begin with. It's my fault to maybe to give us a thought and then let her interpret it and then give us another one. I know that's difficult, but that's really what we need to do under these circumstances, okay? I apologize to you.
Señora Campos, la voy a interrumpir porque lo que usted dice lo tiene que escuchar el señor Salazar. Se lo debí de haber dicho desde el principio. Es mi culpa. Yo sé que puede ser difícil, pero trate de decirnos un pensamiento, permitir interpretar y luego continuar con el siguiente pensamiento. Yo siento que si lo liberan temprano es un mal juicio porque él ha impactado nuestras vidas, no solo mi vida, sino la vida de mi hija. Lo que él hizo lo ha cicatrizado de por vida. No se trató de únicamente un incidente, lo hizo por un término de 3 años, lo cual la ha afectado a ella profundamente. Él dice que si lo liberan, él va a ser deportado, lo cual se dice fácilmente.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Campos, please continue. I'm sorry.
Gracias, señora Campos. Continúe, por favor. Disculpe.
Okay. Yeah, he will get deported, but at the same time, he can always come back.
Sí, claro, él será deportado, pero al mismo tiempo él siempre podrá regresar.
He has done it already, not just once. He's done it several times. From what he's told me.
Él ya lo ha hecho, no solo una vez, sino varias veces, de acuerdo a lo que él me ha dicho.
Now, bear in fact, I was married to him for 3 years, so I know him.
De hecho, yo estuve casada con él por 3 años, por lo cual yo lo conozco.
Now, when I'm saying that he affected not only me, he affected our daughter by giving us an STD that we are both gonna carry for the rest of our lives.
Cuando yo digo que él no solamente me afectó a mí, sino también a nuestra hija, es porque él nos ha infectado de una enfermedad de transmisión sexual, la cual vamos a portar por el resto de nuestras vidas,
Which is herpes, which is uncurable,
la
and
cual es herpes y es incurable.
which is something that we have to carry on for the rest of our lives.
Y es
So
algo,
why should we have to make his life easier when he is not making our lives any easier?
y es algo que vamos a aportar por el resto de nuestra vida. Entonces, ¿por qué deberíamos de facilitarle su vida cuando él no ha hecho nuestras vidas para nada más fáciles?
Now, we didn't do an impact statement whenever he got whenever he got sent to prison, but right now I think we need to say something about it.
Nosotros no brindamos una declaración de impacto cuando él fue sentenciado, pero creo que ahora tenemos que decir algo al respecto.
Now, while being locked up, he still went on ahead and still tried to contact us.
A pesar de estar encerrado, él todavía intentó ponerse en contacto con nosotros,
Still making our lives impossible.
todavía haciendo nuestras vidas imposibles.
So our nightmare still hasn't been over.
Entonces nuestra pesadilla todavía no acaba.
He is still making our lives impossible.
Él sigue haciendo nuestras vidas imposibles.
My daughter still has nightmares because of this.
Mi hija sigue teniendo pesadillas debido a esto.
She still has to go to counseling because of this.
Ella todavía sigue recibiendo consejería debido a esto.
She is 18 years old and has no social life and still cannot live a normal life because of what he did to her.
Ella tiene 18 años de edad, ella no tiene una vida social, ella no puede todavía llevar una vida normal debido a lo que él le hizo a ella.
So why should we have pity on him when he did not have pity on my daughter?
Entonces, ¿por qué deberíamos de sentir lástima por él si él no sintió lástima por mi hija?
So I ask you, why should we go on ahead and make things easier for him when he didn't do anything easy for us?
Entonces yo le pregunto a ustedes, ¿por qué deberíamos de facilitarle las cosas a él cuando él no nos facilitó nada a nosotros?
Now, I don't know if it's on his docket, but I did call the warden because he went as far ahead and threatened one of my nephews that if he didn't get our address to him, that he would go on ahead and send somebody to assault him.
Yo no sé si eso aparece en el expediente de él o no, pero yo tuve que llamar a la comisaría porque él llegó hasta el punto de ponerse en contacto con uno de mis sobrinos y lo amenazó que si no le hacía dar nuestra dirección a él, entonces él iba a mandar gente para que lo agredieran.
So, like I said, he has still been harassing our family.
Entonces, como dije, él sigue acosando a nuestra familia.
So again, like I say, why should we have to facilitate him for him to get out early? He does not deserve that.
Entonces, como ya lo dije antes, ¿por qué deberíamos de facilitar que él pueda salir antes? Él no se lo merece.
Thank you, Ms. Campos. We appreciate your comments.
Gracias, señora Campos. Agradecemos sus comentarios.
Mr. Salazar, is there anything you'd like to say to the board before we vote?
Señor Salazar, ¿algo que quiera usted saber a la Junta antes de que nosotros tomemos nuestro voto?
Sí, primeramente, la niña, cuando yo me casé con María Elena Campos, la niña fue violada por su hermano, por su medio hermano, que se llama David Lamas.
Firstly, the girl, when I married Maria Campos, had been raped by her brother, her half brother. His name is Daniel Damas.
La niña nunca tuvo, ¿cómo se le llama? Ayuda psicológica. Ella no nomás me ha acusado a mí, ha acusado a varios en las fiestas de la casa, siempre ha acusado a varios señores que la tocan, nadie la toca.
The girl never received psychological help. The girl has not only accused me, she has accused several people at house parties that they have touched her, and no one ever touched her.
También de lo de la enfermedad, yo no sé si ella me lo pegó o yo se lo pegué, porque yo nunca tenía esa enfermedad. Hasta que estuve con ella, que hacían un sexo anal, ellas me empezaron a salir granos y yo le dije a ella, a mí me salen, es salpuido, me decía ella.
About the STD, I cannot be sure if I gave that to her or she gave it to me, because it had never happened to me before I had sex with her. When we had anal sex, I started to develop these lumps, and she said it was a rash.
Yo, mi récord es limpio, yo nunca he tenido nada que ver con ella. Puede decir que yo le hablé, que hablaron, que ponga pruebas, que yo les hablé. Yo no tengo nada que esconder. Mi récord es limpio, yo he estado haciendo mi tiempo y quiero ir a casa.
I have a clean docket. She can say whatever that I call them. She has to show proof that I have called them. I have a clean docket. I'm serving my time. I'm doing my time, and I want to go home.
Thank you, sir.
Gracias, señor.
Yes.
Okay.
And is the panel ready to vote? Oh, man. Let's do it. The timer has started. The poll is in the chat. Get your votes in. This is the last case. We are out of here after this one. Wow. Did he say he's not sure if she gave it to him or he gave it to her? Does he not understand that he was having sex with a minor? Man, it's almost like he ready to make the case that it was consensual. Like, my guy. My goodness. 3 years. And it's almost like he was basically trying to have having a relationship. He doesn't have no accountability in this situation. He don't feel he's done nothing wrong. He gave the excuse that, or the reason that she has been all worded before by her stepbrother, as if that justifies any of the things that he's been doing. And then he says that she lied on other people before, saying people touched her and they haven't touched her. Well, it's clear that she didn't lie on you, sir, because you're clearly acknowledging to having sex with this underage girl. He's not denying it. He even went into detail on the kind of sex. Yeah, this one is very disturbing. This was his wife's daughter that he was having relations with, who was underage, and this was going on for 3 years. And it seems like everyone in this case has an STD. Because if he was with the mother and the daughter, and they were doing this, and then he contracted that, or he gave it, my goodness. And then he's having anal sex with a minor on top of this guy. It's only been 3 years. He's been an old man. So he knows better. And he's looking forward to getting deported. And I was trying to understand, so if you get paroled, are you still able to get deported? Because what are the stipulations at that point? Don't come back to the country? You know, if you get paroled, what does that mean? Basically, you're free to go, but you're getting deported anyway, so you don't got to finish your time. Do you finish your time in your country? Do they deport you to a jail cell where you come from? Or do you go free back home on early release? Or is it that because they would have released you into this society, that it's not an issue for them to release you back into where you came from? But is there no stipulations? Do you go back home a free person with a clean record because it didn't happen in that country? Is that how that works? You probably go to a halfway house first. Said Mexico don't trip on this. Oh, we got 30 seconds left to vote. We about to end the poll, and we're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna end this live after we get the results. 15 seconds on the clock. Get your votes in now. 10 seconds on the clock. And we are ending the poll. Yeah, and all right, so we got we got the results are in. Will the judges grant parole in this case? Well, we got 25 votes, and 92% of the people said no, they will not grant parole, and 7% said yes. So we got someone out there who believes that there's a chance. I don't. This sounds egregious. Unless they just want to get him out the country. Unless they just want to get him out the country, then fine. But let's see what the judges got to say.
Last.
My vote is to deny his parole
Mi voto es denegarle la libertad condicional.
due to
¿Debido a qué?
lack of sex offender treatment,
En la falta de tratamiento para ofensor sexual,
the age of the victim,
la edad de la víctima
and the impact of the crime on the victim,
y el impacto de la víctima.
and law enforcement, and all law enforcement agencies are opposed.
Y todas las agencias de reforzamiento de la ley se oponen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Salazar, my vote is the same for the same reasons.
Señor Salazar, mi voto sería el mismo debido a las mismas razones.
Thank you, Mr. Roche. My vote is likewise the same. Mr. Salazar, your parole has been denied today.
Gracias, señor Roche. Mi voto también es el mismo. Señor Salazar, su solicitud de libertad bajo palabra se encuentra denegada el día de hoy.
Una pregunta.
I have a question.
voy a tener otra oportunidad de tener, o voy a tener que ser los 7 años, porque a mí me sentenciaron a 5 años, jail, cárcel y 2 años
¿2 años qué?
probation.
I have another question. Do I have to serve the full 7 years because my sentence was 5 years jail time and 2 years probation?
My records reflect a 7-year sentence. That's up to the Department of Corrections and the courts.
His full term date is May 19th.
Yeah, his full term date is May 19th of 2024. So that's when his full term date will be, that's when he'll get out.
Mi récord indica que su sentencia es de 7 años de parte de la Corte y el Departamento de Correcciones, la fecha completa de la finalización de su término y cuando usted saldrá es 19 de mayo de 2024.
Good. We will be adjourned at Rapides. Thank you very much for your help. Ma'am, thank you for your interpretation. We'll be adjourned at 10:28.
Levantamos la audiencia a las 10:28. Gracias por la interpretación.
Gracias.
Thank you.
And there you have it. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, everybody, for their participation. This was a great experience. I enjoyed the show. I hope you guys did too. Look forward to more of this kind of content. We're going to be doing more. Maybe even tomorrow. Might have another one. But I'm going to do it a couple of times a week. We're going to do some content like this. Let me shout out to all my members, and then we're going to get up out of here. So thank you to all the people that came through, that participated, all the people that watched it live, all the new members. Want to shout out all the members. Shout out to Sheila B, Miss Eve, 27 Durin, Thad Tias, It Is What It Is, J Dub, Katana, Dana Maria, D Grant, Alif CJ, Colby Knows, Distracting One, Gems I View, Long Live EA, Tesha Z's, Highly Favored, Uncle L, Go Getter, Rally Time TV, Sunrise 71, Steve A, The Real Geechee, 67 RCL, Trey Spectives, Yvonne May, Courtney Peach. I want to thank everybody that supported the channel and let people know about this content. Today we were 0 for 5. We were 0 for 5. Nobody got granted parole today. So we'll see how it goes next time. I look forward to seeing everybody. You guys enjoy your day. Wabbit Crime Network is out investigating more crime. Everyone have a good day. Take care of yourselves.